is all the sand that you apparently accumulate. What? I think we're live.
Are we live,
Yeah.
David?
Hey, we are. We are. I'm sorry. After that clumsy beginning. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Artist Alchemy. This is where we talk to artists and other creative people about that kind of magic thing that makes art happen. And we've got so much to talk about with our special guest, Pam Nowak. She's certainly no stranger to arts and culture lovers far and wide. She's a working artist, an arts educator, arts promoter, past YubaSutter Arts Educator of the Year, and a former radio disc jockey. Did I miss anything, Pam?
That was great. Thank you. Well, actually, I'm really happy to announce, and since I get to give it the announcement here, I get to be the YubaSutter Arts and Culture Artist in Residence this year too.
Oh my gosh! See, I forgot.
So I'm so excited.
I haven't done that. I haven't done that press release. You've
We're
earned it.
releasing it now.
Well, okay. You heard it first here, live on Artist Alchemy. Yeah, that's a kind of an honorarium that we provide for artists in the community that work with us, that do great things to promote art and to practice their own specific art. So we love that program. We're so glad to have you as our visual artist in residence. Thank you, Pam.
I'm honored.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Well, you're a returning guest. When we talked about this a couple of months ago, I think it was before your recent trip to Italy. But before we get into that, I just wanted to touch base real quick on the beginning of the school year. You got back from your trip, just before, a couple of days before the start of the new school year?
David, that's correct. Yes.
How is it returning where you're actually in the classroom after a year of virtual art instruction? Talk to us about that.
Yes, Yuba City High School and River Valley are both the high schools here in Yuba City who are going full-time in-person education with masks that are required in the classroom. And I think it's wonderful. I'm so excited. I look around my classroom, which I'm sitting in right now because we just got done with a emergency fire drill practice. And I just am thrilled. I look around and see artists. You can actually coach kids in the moment. They are not pointing their cameras at the ceiling or too shy to be live in person. I mean, showing themselves. So the benefits are amazing, and I hope that kids are excited. I get the feeling that they're excited. I look out on the quad, my room faces right out there for lunch and break, and kids are excited to see each other and talk and be in person. I'm going to say we have kids being quarantined. There are kids contracting COVID, or someone in their household is. So we get those notifications, and some people more than others. But that's also a fact of this situation.
The district, I know, and all the school districts are taking that very seriously. So that's good to see. And it's just fact of life these days. And, we have to be cautious. But you're right. For the students, it's got to be a thrill because by and large, they're pretty social animals. And being together with their peers is, kind of part of that experience, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I think participating in the entire school life, we're going to have sports, we have clubs and organizations, associate student body is happening. All of the things are rolling. I'm going to have to admit, I had to remember, what do I do at the beginning of the year? How did I do this now? It's like, okay, and it's also a chance to try new things. So I learned some things during virtual education and online learning that I'm going to keep. So.
That's a great point. As we have, some of the programs that we've done like this, why not? We're not going to try to go sit at the Burroughs Theater at 4:00 on a Tuesday afternoon and expect anybody to show up. But here we can, preserve this conversation and share it. And typically hundreds of people watch these things over the course of the next few weeks. So you're absolutely right. I'm remembering you told us some stories about during virtual education about how the students, they'd kind of check in initially to take roll because you had to take attendance, right?
Right.
And then they, like you said, they'd kind of disappear. The camera goes to the ceiling, or they just kind of put their name up there, and you don't know if they're there or not. So
right.
Let's hear it for in-person learning. Thank goodness.
Yeah. I hope people continue to embrace it and are not worried about it. We are having back to school night this week, and it will be over a Google Meet. So,
Oh,
you
okay.
have to be sensitive to
All
the
right.
situation, and that's happening here for
Yeah.
us on Thursday.
Yeah, another great example of some of that kind of hybrid thing that we can continue doing for increased engagement with families, with patrons, and it's important that we keep those things in mind. In
Totally.
preparing for this conversation, I was thinking back to last year and a couple of things that we did. Regardless, well, the first I'll remember fondly our Getty field trip that you inspired. That was just before the lockdown.
Amazing. Yeah.
January 2020. You said you had done this years before. We were able to find a grant, so we took Pam and a couple of other educators and 45 students to Los Angeles for 3 days for a whirlwind tour of both Getty museums, the Villa in Malibu and the Getty Center high on the hill above Los Angeles. And what a spectacular trip that was. It almost softened the blow of having to cancel the Yuba City High School student gallery show that you had just set up when we were shut down in mid-March. I remember we had a St. Patrick's Day event at Justin's Kitchen with One-Eyed Riley on Sunday, Sunday, March 15th. And then by the 17th, I think St. Patrick's Day, the order came down. And so we had to shut that one down. But then, last August, we did the Womannequins project where we had the decorated mannequin torsos that individual artists and organizations decorated in honor of the enactment of the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote 100 years ago. And you were a big part of that. You were you were the MC, and you were in costume portraying a suffragist. And,
Yes.
and that was on the lawn of the Tea Garden House. That was a great event, very artful, socially distanced, and we were careful and had a great event and a good turnout for that.
Well, I would like to jump in and say that that is part of Yuba Sutter Arts and Culture adapting, because that was set a long time ago. That was going to be in a different venue. It was going to
Right,
be
that's right.
in your gallery. We had a march planned.
Oh,
Other
yeah.
things
Oh,
were,
I've
yeah,
forgotten that. Oh, yeah.
other things didn't really come through, but I was really honored to be selected as the MC for it. And we had reenactors and speakers and the artists talking about their process going through making their mannequin into a womannequin. And I get to have a couple of
Yeah.
mine in the show, and people bought them and
Yeah.
really participated and enjoyed being in an outdoor setting like that in August. It was pretty good. We did it. We made it work.
Yeah. We did. It was just fantastic. Good point about adapting because, yeah, it had a little
Yeah,
different look and feel
totally.
when we planned it. So all the mannequins were displayed out on the front lawn there of the Tea Garden House. It was really spectacular. And the new owner, Russ Zullo, had only recently taken over, and he was such a great partner to work with us to allow us to do that. And of course, and that's just kind of kitty corner now to the Sutter Theater Center for the Arts that we have recently acquired. So it's kind of in our right there in the neighborhood. So we look forward to further partnerships with the Tea Garden House. It's a great venue.
Mhm.
Ah, what a time! Well, we're so glad to be past some of that. We're watching and waiting cautiously here to see what occurs in the weeks and months ahead. So we're going live as best we can, and we'll talk about a big event coming up at the Sutter Theater a little later on the program. Let's get right into the first chapter, if you will, and it's affectionately titled "Italy," or "What did I do?" or "What did you do, Pam, on your summer vacation?" So, talk to us about this Italy connection that you have had for a number of years and how it played out this year.
Okay, well, thanks, David. It's been my pleasure to actually enjoy Italy. And for a few times there, I went to visit my former exchange student from Italy, who was in Yuba City for an entire year and
Mm,
graduated from Yuba City High School. And when I really started going to Italy and really loving the culture and the art and the food and everything that is there, I
there's,
looked
a,
for a,
there's a lot of both, a lot of both
oh,
culture and food.
totally. Absolutely. And I started looking for a way, and I gotta say, I did not start traveling when I was young. I was not one of those backpackers in Europe, and lots of young people find these sites called, I think it's Woofering and
Mm,
HelpX. And
mm.
so HelpX had an advertisement for Humanities Springs, and you could go to Assisi and be a part of this program that helped teach Italian children, young elementary school children, how to improve their English, their speaking, and their writing through art, cooking, and drama. And so they invited people to come and volunteer in any, way, shape, or form for any amount of time. And so I put in an application. I said, gee, I teach art. I would love to come and do this. How long can I stay? Type of thing. And so for the first time a couple years ago, I went for 5 weeks. And because the program is so amazing, I wanted to stay a good chunk of the time. And I ended up teaching drama and art and doing everything I could possibly do with students.
Wow.
And so then last year, I wanted to go and take some of my students who were graduating, if they wanted to get in on the program too. Jenny, the head of the program, was open to that. And then COVID hit. So if you wanted to go to Italy, you had to quarantine for 14 days. And that just wasn't feasible for us. So we didn't do it. And then this year we said, we want to come again and we want to work in the program and learn as much as we can. So we went for 7 weeks, and we went to Assisi first, where they do summer camps that are a week long with little guys, like little groups of kids. And it was still a concern. COVID was a concern. So we wore masks. All activities and meals were outside. And it worked really well. In a couple of weeks, the restrictions for masks loosened up. Kids are tested before they come into the program, but not all of them are vaccinated. So you have to be very careful that they're safe.
What age range were you dealing with?
So when we first start the program in June, it starts about mid-June. You have elementary school kids from about 7 or 8 to 10 or 11.
Okay.
And then the last 4 weeks is the archaeological program, where kids in high school, both Italian kids and American kids, are invited to come. They find it online under Humanities Springs. And they are learning the Greek and Roman culture, the history, the art periods, the architecture of the homes and the styles of the activities of the homes, the forum, the basilica, everything that was going on in there. And so we had like 13 kids. Most of them were Italian, but some of them were American.
So small groups. So you're not dealing with dozens and dozens. So it's real, personal.
I think our largest group was 22, but we have like 7 teachers to help with that. And it's broken up into smaller groups, and then whole class activities too. But we had lots of outdoor space for that. So it accommodated.
American and Italian only? That's the focus, or?
Well, actually, I think the first year I went, we had some students from Budapest and China, but
mostly Americans and Italians.
Yes, exactly. Because the emphasis is improving your English and learning some Italian.
And so they likely have some basic English when they sign up for the class.
The younger ones are learning. They're really learning. So, but they're in there with Italian kids, and we have teacher aides who are Italian high schools kids, and they help us too. But I just look at them and go, can you say that in English? Because I don't know any Italian. So it kind of forces them a little bit to interact. And they're hearing and doing and following directions and making stuff with an English-speaking instructor.
The language of art is universal, let's be honest, right?
Oh, absolutely. And baking too. I mean, you have to measure and follow the steps. And then when they do theater, they're doing it outdoors. They have a script, but they have to be off script and know their parts in English.
Really? So it's a serious deal. Oh, how fun.
In a week. So they each have these things that they're going through and participating in.
Did you help with the baking and the theater as well?
No. My specialty was definitely art this time around. First time around, I did theater, which was a lot of fun.
Okay.
And they also do things like journal making, bookmaking, writing. You help them with writing a lot to get it down correctly, because that's important.
How fabulous. I mean, what an experience.
It's like, well, imagine a summer camp. Did you ever go to summer camp, David?
I never did. Some Boy Scout camps, but never summer camp.
Well, yeah. So I remember my summer camp experience in that you just did everything all the time, and then you were
Yeah,
there for meals, and then you were
yeah,
there for campfire, and it was like you always had your camp counselors with you around the clock, and that's kind
yeah,
of what this is. It's
yeah.
a lot of interaction with kids.
Yeah, my kids did, so I kind of get the concept.
Right.
Boy, full immersion though in the arts and culture. I like that. Mm.
The kids love it, and Jenny has a lot of students who come back year after year. Some of our teachers were students when they were younger. In fact, it was so funny that um, I had Giuseppe was a little kid in one of the programs that I had 3 years ago, and he's
Ah,
back as a teenager in high school, and he's helping as a TA.
oh, how
So
fun!
it's fun. Yeah, it's
Very
great to
cool.
see him. Yeah,
That's got to
totally.
be neat to see that young person again a couple of years later. Oh,
Hmm.
what a
Totally.
connection! Well, your whole trip and that whole experience was, in my mind, it's what we should all do more of on Facebook. It was, your shared experience, and it was just the right amount, a few pictures and great things that you and the students were doing, and you're kind of running a dialogue about some of the remarkable art that you experience, the places, the paintings, the sculpture, the mosaics, and was all of the student part, was that all in Assisi, or did the
Um,
students travel with you at all? Did you go out of the area?
Yes. Well, we started in Assisi, where we were staying and doing a lot of the activities, but then a couple times a week they would go um, into main Assisi to look at examples. They have museums there. They have the Volta Pina, which has the
Oh,
frescoes on it, and um, it's pretty amazing. So we did that, and then in the archaeological program, we take trips into Florence. We went to Florence and
with the students.
oh
Oh,
yeah,
so
the
you're
student.
busing
Yeah.
them, and okay.
We're in the van going to Florence.
What?
Yeah.
How long a trip was that?
It's about 2 hours,
Oh, like from
two and a
here
half.
going to San Francisco or something
Mhm.
to the De Young.
The good part is that Assisi is very central. It's about 3 hours from Rome, and from there we went
Oh, nice.
other
Okay.
places. So yeah,
Should we look at our map of Italy?
let's look at a
Shantae,
map. Yeah.
Shantae's got one queued up. I think maybe just to, and Pam, you can
Get
guide
our
us,
bearings. Oh yeah.
and then
Where's
you
my
can talk
little
about
pointer?
the other 20 places you visited. All
We
right.
we tried to get around for sure.
Can we
So
see Assisi here, or what's it near?
look at Rome and just go kind of east a little
Which
bit.
way? North or south or
East. So
east?
toward, yeah, east, because Rome's kind of on the coast.
Toward
And then
the.
Assisi is a little northeast up from it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And
Look
then
up the funny map. I want to see the cute map with all the stuff that
oh, the
all the
other one.
students.
Okay.
Yeah. There we
Oh,
go.
there we go. There we go.
See, so we're in Umbria. So if
All
you
right.
look right there under Tuscany, there's Umbria.
And it's like a
And
state or a province.
yes, Umbria is
Okay.
the province. And then we went down to Campania, and we went, I think, is Florence in Tuscany? We went to
Florence
Florence
is
too.
a little higher up. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, there you go.
Just north of Rome. Yeah.
All the fabulous food
Oh,
in region. Yep.
we'll
So
talk.
we
Yeah.
stayed for the most part along the West Coast.
Okay. How? So talk more about the food. I know made some references to it. Is it like just nonstop pasta or any exotic things you wouldn't?
What did we have that was unexpected? So when we were in Umbria, there's a lot of meat and pasta, and they do meatballs, but you don't do meatballs and pasta. You have meatballs separate. That's
Oh,
its
interesting.
own little dish. There's no
Not
such
like
thing
us
as
where we kind of
spaghetti.
dump the meatballs right on top of the
No.
spaghetti. Oh, okay.
During our summer camp, Wednesday night was always make your favorite pasta night. So it's a total integration of education. In the morning, kids would draw a little cartoon of what was their favorite pasta,
Ah,
when did they eat it, who did they eat it with, what do they remember about it, why do they like it. So they have
oh, I
this
love it.
artwork.
What a great
And then
prompt. I like that.
we go around and we get all the ingredients, and they get to make it. So
Hmm.
that evening for dinner, we have like pasta, different kinds of noodles with 5 or 6 other sauces. So someone likes pesto. So 5 people go into the kitchen and they make pesto. Or if somebody likes carbonara, then we find all the ingredients for it. And the 3 people who like carbonara, they go into the kitchen and they make carbonara.
Oh, wow.
Or sugo, which is a basic tomato sauce. And we make the sugo, and you put a little dash of wine in it, and you have to have that. Well, do you like pepper? No, I don't like pepper. So we leave the pepper out.
Oh,
So
fun.
the kids get to totally tailor their dinner, and they make it, and they cook, and they follow all the directions in English. So.
Did you have any or have a chance to make any actual handmade pasta or see that being done?
Did we do that?
I've only had it a few times, and I'm always amazed to watch someone actually making the pasta.
It's amazing. I never got to see it because our cooks would bring it already made, and then they would put the sauce on it.
Pretty,
Like,
I mean, a pretty high quality pasta, though. I mean, this is
really good. Well, there was one kind where you cut the noodle and you kind of roll it so it makes a little spiral. It's not the packaged,
not rotini,
fusilli. Yeah, not
rotini or fusilli. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you don't do it, but it was so good and thick, really thick and chewy and al dente.
What's your favorite?
One that I had the seafood, but I loved it all. It was all.
Do you have a favorite pasta?
I liked the noodle, just the little flat noodle. Yeah. And sometimes they had white sauce with a little meat in it, or sometimes it was what else do we have? We had risotto quite a bit, like once a week. We had a meal that was pretty much set every day of the week.
Okay.
This was chicken for dinner. This was sausage for dinner with salad and vegetables. So it was basic fare that was really well cooked.
Did you see gnocchi anywhere on the menu? Gnocchi?
We didn't have gnocchi. There was one at a restaurant, and the kids go out to restaurants too, and get to pick things, especially when it comes to pizza. Although we made pizza too. Our cook made her version of pizza was much thicker, more like a focaccia bread.
Oh, okay.
Pizza. But the pizza we went out for in Rome and Naples was amazing. So that was one of my favorite things.
And what's the deal? So what's the deal with pizza? Is it an Italian thing or is it an American thing? I mean, I've never researched that. Where'd it come from?
I am not a food historian, so don't quote me.
No, I won't.
But they say that pizza started in Naples.
Okay, all right.
That it's so good there because of the water and how they make it. And I don't know. It's just, it's super, super thin. It's like a very crackery crust, and they make it in a wood oven.
Sounds more like a New York style pizza versus the deep dish in Chicago.
Exactly.
I've had. So regional differences.
And so here's a funny story. When I was there 3 years ago and the kids were making their own pizza, they get to pick what toppings they want to put on it. One of the favorite kid toppings is sliced hot dog.
Wow.
And French fries on a pizza.
Did you try it? Does it work?
I had a sliver because I was going to eat the other pizza more than that. But we went to pizza in Naples, and it was right there on the menu. They call it Wurst something or other.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, love that stuff. Just love it.
And that was probably not my favorite, but there were other pizzas that were super good.
It's all right. Gosh, what else? So you went, did you get time for some personal travel once you were finished teaching?
Well, during, I think it was maybe our second or third week, I took some time out to go up to Torino and down to Cuneo to see my former exchange student.
And that's way up in the northwest, kind of the crook of the top of the boot there, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So it was wonderful to see how he's getting along, and he and his wife now have a daughter. And he's still doing art, and he has a career in art. And then I also had never been to Cuneo before, and it's sort of on the coast, not far from what is it called? It's Monte Carlo. So it's like an hour away from Monte Carlo and Nice on the French coast. So it's up there.
So it's below Turin, right?
Yeah. Torino, it's straight south, so it's almost to the coast, but not quite.
I want to go. So
You should.
amazing.
It's
You hear
beautiful.
about these places all the time, and then you actually take a look at the map and see how spread out they are. With
California is bigger than Italy, so it's doable. You can hop around pretty good.
yeah, and I looked it up. About 60 million people, so it's certainly a popular, pretty high density, but a beautiful mountainous country, right?
Um, to the north, yes.
In the
They
north,
do skiing. Yeah,
up toward the
absolutely.
Alps. Yeah,
Absolutely.
incredible. And did you go to Torino?
Only to change to a train.
Oh, this trip. Okay.
Through it, yeah, went through it on a train. I had done that earlier. Torino is beautiful.
I always think of the Shroud of Turin. We were talking about this the other day,
Mhm.
and that ghostly image. Is it real, or it's
Yeah, I don't know.
fascinating.
It is there are so many fascinating pieces of art and things that are just, kind of singular and unique to Italy.
Well, let's talk through some of the slides. Take us on a little slideshow tour of some of the things you saw.
While we were doing the archaeological week, we had the opportunity to get into the Archaeological Museum Nacional of Naples, and this is a micro mosaic. And I just put a bunch of mosaics in here because I know how much you love mosaics
I
after
do.
you went and saw the Pompeii show at the Legion, which is fabulous and there for one more week. So if
Yeah.
anyone wants to get to the Legion, they should rush and do
So
that.
these are tiny little pieces in that image, huh?
Tiny pieces of tesserae that are just like, I don't know, like smaller than a Cocoa Puff or something. It's just,
Was it created as a wall hanging, or is it a floor or wall mosaic remnant?
I think it's a portrait.
Done as a portrait, really? I never thought about that. You're going to do your portrait out of mosaic style. Fascinating. Hmm. What's next?
Oh, this
Oh,
is an entryway, lots of entryways, and that's the fresco in the back. And this is just sitting in a huge um, room. So it's much bigger than that. It's probably more like 13 by 16 feet. And
yeah,
what I love about this is the wild combination of patterns. They just threw
yeah.
black and white is traditional. So the last one we saw was in color and mimicked a painting of flesh and features, but this is totally design.
And I mean, that's fascinating to lay something like that out. I'm just thinking of, what do you do? Pull out the chalk line and snap a line, or
Yeah, they
I
had a lot of advanced technology for many different things, including, cooking, as you saw in the show,
mean,
and casting bronze and all kinds of things.
and the wall piece is a fresco. That's painting in wet plaster, right? That whole
Correct.
technique.
Yes. hmm
Great.
And I put a lot of mosaics in here because they're just beautiful. This is another mosaic that's one of those teeny tiny ones.
Oh,
And
really?
they would
Like,
just, yeah,
what do
they
you
would
mean by
just have
teeny
been
tiny?
sitting on a,
Just
yeah, just
how
tiny,
big?
12 by 12.
Okay. Wow, amazing. That's small.
And the pieces are really small. They
So
would just
beautiful.
put them, here's another one. This one almost looks three-dimensional when I look at the black and
Yeah.
white. Just such an odd image. I don't know the reference or what this was even intended for, but it's
It's like a early Salvador Dali or something.
indeed, exactly. Yes. Oh, this goes to the archaeological site in Pestum. And Pestum is a Greek and Roman site, and their museum has many relics from that site. The last one was mostly from Pompeii. This one
Mm.
is in Pestum. And these are figures that are really nicely worked in clay.
Mm. Oh,
And lots of vases. And I love just how they tell a story. It's like this is a book. You're reading a book on a handmade vase that. And I'm not an art historian, so when I look at these things, I just look at how delicate the line work is and how
right,
amazing
right.
the form is for building it by hand. It's totally symmetrical. Um,
What is there a name or a term for that kind of red on black or black? No, is it reverse? Is
it's
it black and
red figured and black black figured bases. Yeah.
okay? Yeah, I just love that. I've seen some of those in person.
And this is the side of a tomb that's frescoed. So Pestum is known for the diver, which I think is the next slide. This is the end, and then the bigger pieces are the long ways of a tomb, and then they also have ones that are pointed for the ends. Yeah, so that's the end, and this is showing the deceased friends celebrating and partying and having a good time, which is what their feeling was when they buried someone. It was a celebration.
Fantastic.
And this is and so here is what it looks like laid out, and this is from the museum. And they have several examples that were found at the site like this. And it's just, it shows in life. Oh, that's me at the Coliseum, which didn't have a big line.
Wait, and I read something the other day about the Coliseum. Are they putting a new floor in it or something to reinforce it?
They have the underground has now been opened and unearthed for visiting.
So there's still excavation going on. They haven't done all that already, huh?
No, I'm not sure they made it available to people to go down and actually walk through the corridors where they used to keep the animals and the props and the life-size ship and everything.
That's right. They used to flood it, right?
Yes.
They'd actually flood the darn thing and float a boat. Wow.
Mm-hmm. So over my shoulder, you can see the little corridors that used to be covered with a floor, and then up above are the seats for the various classes of people. And yeah.
Incredible.
It was wonderful to go, but the crowd, there wasn't much of a crowd. We walked right in. So
nice.
These are my high school students.
Nice.
And they're looking out over the railing at the Coliseum. We walked the legs off of them. We spent long days walking around between sites and trying to stay cool and sketching and taking everything in. It was like hands-on, really.
Incredible. Oh, what an experience.
These are some Americans sketching at Pestum. I just think they had a great time. Oh, this is me at our villa in Rome. Just had to mention that we were at a villa in Rome.
Of course you did. Yeah, you fit right in there. You look like the proprietor.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to my villa. You can pass for Italian there.
Oh, thank you. Well, the proprietor worked very hard to make us happy. We didn't have to do a dish. We didn't have to lift a finger. We sat out on the patio and had our meals served to us. It was really great.
Stop.
So we were pampered there for sure. And these are my students in Rome. This is the fountain. They're just like being tourists, having fun. But you can see in the background, hardly anyone around. So we were really lucky as far as crowds and being safe, and we're outdoors, so we don't have masks on. But every time we went into a museum, everyone was masked up.
Is that the Tivoli fountain?
Which one is this?
Is that what it's called? Tivoli?
No,
it's that one that's in the Fellini film.
Yes, no, it's not that one. This is the Four Seasons or the Four Directions. I'm gonna have to look it up.
No, that's all right. It's not a quiz. I was just curious.
What is that? Oh, that's the top. Did I put this in there? Really? This is just, once again, a street scene. And that is the Museum of, I'm going to have to remember. It's the one in Rome that's right behind. Oh, the Forum. Yeah. Is this the Forum? Yeah, it's behind the Forum. This is on the other side. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Everything's so monumental. Boy.
This is a shard. This is from the Getty. But I just love the colors in this. And I use this to do a painting when I did my watercolor things during the winter. So I did watercolor experimentations just to try out stuff. Yeah. So this is the one. Oh, wow. So go back to the other one. These are you found them. This one is influenced my watercolors for the next slide. Which, yeah, so that was what I used to inspire me. So even in, I think I did that in February. Yeah. Even in February, I was thinking about Italy.
All day long, I dream about Italy.
Yes. Well, just seeing that little figure on the balcony, and all of the like the ironwork is all that sort of rectangular square grid. Yeah,
Mm.
so that's gold, but that ironwork is everywhere around all of the gating and all of the balconies. It's kind of that is symbolic to Italy,
Gee.
only it's usually in black or bronze or steel, I guess. I don't know.
And the colors are so vibrant, thousands of years later, right?
Absolutely. And when you go to Pompeii, all of the walls that are frescoed, you would think that they were just painted last year because they are so bright.
And aside from cleaning, they haven't repainted them, right?
No,
That's a no-no. I mean, they just get whatever they
they get
do,
unearthed. I think they wash them with water. I
something
guess.
very gentle. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Touching up is not allowed.
They don't. It's
No,
pretty amazing.
yeah, just it is. Oh, gorgeous.
It was an amazing trip, and I would certainly encourage anyone who wants to go because
Were were crowds light, do you think, because of COVID?
I would have to say so. Yes,
This is the
definitely.
height of summer travel season while you were there, right?
And I kind of got the feeling that mostly there were not a lot of Italian um, touristy people. It was mostly the city folk or
Mm-hmm.
the people from the country. When we went into Assisi, we saw more visitors, and you can hear different languages. You could hear maybe German being spoken
Mm-hmm.
or English with a London accent sometimes. Um, but mostly you just hear Italian around you. So
Yeah.
that tells me that it's just local people.
Well, you covered a lot of ground. I said earlier I kind of made a list of all the cities and areas you went to because you went to Vatican City too, right?
Yes, we went to the Vatican. We walked right up to St. Peter's and didn't have a line. So
Mm.
I was very fortunate that we didn't think we'd get in. We just went to the courtyard area, the outside area, and looked around, which there's a lot to see everywhere. But
Oh.
it's not like going into the Basilica. So
And how about that Amalfi Coast, right? Mm.
that's pretty amazing. Yep, it's beautiful. Now that was crowded. It was definitely full of cars and tour buses.
Okay,
So, you know, some places I think are still getting a lot of tourists.
just depends.
Hmm.
Wow. Well, what a great vicarious tour. Thank you so much. And all
You're
those
welcome.
lucky young people got exposed to so many things. Just amazing.
It's
Amazing.
an education for sure. And I think that it's, I think whenever anybody can, wherever it is, to enjoy a different type of culture is an important thing. And I'm really looking forward to some shows that you're having that are going to bring some different cultures to us here locally too. We're very lucky.
We absolutely are.
Hmm.
Good stuff. Anything else about Italy you want to share? Just what was the name of the organization again that you hooked up with that puts on these programs for students?
Humanities Springs, and it's like an all over humanities type education for Italian kids to improve their English.
And it's based in Italy as opposed to the U.S. It's based there.
Yes. Jenny, who runs it, was born in the U.S. and went to school here, but has become an expat and relocated to Italy and is doing an amazing job, at least for the last 10 years that I know of, maybe longer, doing this program.
And I love that connection with your exchange student who you taught in class here. And how many years ago was that when Matteo was here?
Yeah, I'm not
About
even remembering. It's been like 10,
10. All right.
15 years
That's a
at
long time.
least.
Yeah.
15 probably. Yeah, for sure. He's in his mid 30s now. So
Many moons ago, and you're still in touch. That's really
yes,
pretty neat.
absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks again for that virtual tour of Italy and lots of the fabulous art and architecture. Shifting gears abruptly, as we've said, YubaSutterArts&Culture is trying to come out and do more live events. We're planning all kinds of things furiously on into the new year, and if we don't get completely sidetracked or what have you with outrageous, I mean, COVID's already on the increase, but if we don't get shut down again by state order, we're going to keep on. And we've got a real hot project or program for you this Saturday night. Shantae, why don't you join us?
Yeah, come on in.
Hi, everyone.
This is Shante
Art
Arroyo,
expert. Yes.
absolutely Arts and Education Coordinator, Social Media Manager, and kind of co-producer of our Art Fix Burning Man event this Saturday night at the Sutter Theater Center for the Arts on Plymouth Street. I don't know, let's go back to the beginning of this Art Fix idea. And Pam, you're the resident expert on where that idea came from with the Crocker. Just talk about what the Crocker was doing these last few years, and then we can go from there.
Okay, sure. Well, just to give you some backstory, I guess, the Crocker Art Museum is a gem here in Northern California, if you could call this part Northern California, because of their involvement, having school tours, having events, kind of like being an art mecca in the Sacramento area and around. And we're lucky to be only about 40 minutes away from Sacramento. They had started a couple of years ago doing something called Art Mix. And that was where they would have a theme, and once a month they would be open on a quirky day like Thursday. So why not go out on a Thursday and do something fun once a month? And the Crocker would pull in as many different vendors, music, speakers, an art activity, special foods and cocktails. And I remember going once for the California Art Educators Association conference, because they would always start on a Thursday. And when it was in Sacramento, they had some art activity. I remember going to it, and it was just fun. It's fun to be around a bunch of people who are excited about art, or who just want to come out and see, kind of like what's going on here. And so over the years, I got kind of like my little art mix crew, and Leela and Carib and a bunch of other people would get together, and we would like go in and see what's going on. And we would dress up if we could. And I remember you went to the
Mardi Gras.
The Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras. Abby and I came to Mardi Gras. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to the Halloween one.
Oh,
2018, I think. Yeah.
Totally, right? And it's just, what would you describe the atmosphere as, Shante? Because I know as a younger person, did you really like it?
I did. It was a party atmosphere, honestly. And it was scattered throughout the whole museum, and there was always lots to do. So, I mean, you could spend the full 3 hours that the event was easily doing something.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I remember they had like ballroom dancing lessons for one. And maybe that was like in February for something romantic or Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah,
or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful series of events, and I mean, it was just an absolute blast. The Mardi Gras with, and costumes are, I think, always encouraged, around the theme of that particular evening's event. The live music, it's like a 3-ring circus for the arts, basically. Right?
Totally. Oh, they would, and they'd often have like hula hoop twirlers, or a fashion show, or some sort of band that had crazy costumes on, and it was always like, what do they call that? Just like a spectacular display.
Absolutely. Well, then fast forward to 2020. So we're sitting around and looking for ideas for programs that we can create, in the virtual realm. And I don't know if Abby or you and Abby or Shante cooked up this idea of trying to replicate Art Mix, and y'all came up with the name Art Fix, just to differentiate a little bit, and to then try to do some of that virtually. So describe that, Pam, and what you did.
Well, I think that we had participated in a couple of different virtual events. There was how to make cocktails or sangria online, and it was
were
like
that group from were they from Spain or Portugal or?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, incredible.
That was so much fun. And so we're all on Zoom, but it's like you're kind of being involved, and you have to do something active, and you don't want to just sit there in front of your screen and be static. So they had song and dance and all these little sort of features combined together. And so Abby said, we could do that. I said, yeah, we could do that. We've got enough people. We could try and schedule something that included art. And I think someone did you come up with a name, David? It's like Art Fix or Art.
I don't think so, no.
No, someone did. But
Probably Alex or Abby. Yeah.
Good
yeah,
one.
so, and because it was virtual, we had people coming from the Midwest to
Yep.
attend. My niece from New Orleans
Oh, right.
got in on one of them. And so not only were presenters, so like Alex was presenting from Boston and he was doing dance lessons. And we
Yep.
were just like trying to get, you know, a whole bunch of things happening.
And you rigged up at home your cocktail cam.
I know, right? So I have my document cam I use during class to draw, but why not just look at how a cocktail's made and what you pour into it so that you can.
It was great. As the queen of the cocktails, you did a fabulous job.
Well,
It
we're
was a
all
lot
our
of
own
fun.
bartenders since we can't go out to a,
That's
speakeasy
right.
anymore.
That's right. So there we were, and so we did a couple of those, had a lot of fun. And then we said, gee, well, we're getting ready to open up. Maybe we better try a real live art fix. And with the Sutter Theater, Center for the Arts now available, a bigger space than what we have in Marysville, we thought, why not? And then came up with the Burning Man theme, since Burning Man didn't happen last year or this year. And I mean, let's be honest, it's not going to be like being out on the playa with dust in every pore and crevice with 80,000 fellow burners. But short of that, we thought we could maybe create a little bit of that atmosphere, that kind of immersive arts experience, which is a big part of what Burning Man is all about. So that's what we've got kind of cooked up. Yeah, that's what you can experience on the playa. And in the interest of full disclosure, my daughter is our technical consultant. She's been twice and can't wait to go back with her crew or posse or whatever they call the clubs, the groups that go out. And it's a fascinating concept. We've all read a little more about Burning Man since we're trying to replicate it here and learning more about what it's really all about. And it's it's kind of it's all as freewheeling as it is. It's there's some structure to it and kind of some principles and guidelines that they try to follow. So it's a good thing. So we're gonna have what's the last count, Shante? 8 artists.
8 artists. That's right. 8 vendors
displaying their work. And we're not going to have the big fire cars in the theater, but or other huge sculptures like this. We are going to have some Burning Man themed cocktails in our atrium bar. If you haven't been in the Sutter Theater since the completion of the front half, we have a full bar and a concession stand and beautifully remodeled space. So that'll be going. We've got a 22-foot movie screen in the Black Box Theater where most of the activity will occur. So we'll be playing Burning Man videos, actual films made during live Burning Man events, mostly from 2019, the last time they did it, and with accompanying music, which is, I hesitate to use the term techno because I always found techno, some of it kind of abrasive, but this is kind of cool techno that you can sit and sort of groove to. And anyhow, that's part of the music soundtrack. As you'll see folks out on the playa as the sun goes down, and in fact we will have, what are they called, the light things,
glow sticks. We have glow stick. Yeah,
that's right.
Glow stick necklaces. So we want to light up the theater and help create some atmosphere with that. So we got the video going, the music going. We're going to have Zumba class demonstrations and classes.
They're going to teach us some dance moves so that we can really get into
what's the instructor's name? I always forget.
Francisco
Serrano. Yeah.
Yes,
that's right.
Correct.
Yeah, wonderful instructor, and I know
we're lucky to
vendor.
get him because he is and a vendor, but he's so busy with quinceañeras lately and doing choreography that
Oh, no kidding. Getting the girls ready to dance. Yeah. Oh, fun. Our friends from Sacramento, Phoenix Drum and Dance, will be up drumming and demonstrating some Caribbean dance moves. And they're always very high energy and just really add a kind of a world music beat to what we do. We've got an acrobat, we've got a juggler, we've got a stilt walker that'll be roving through the theater and lobby. So and there'll be a lot going on. I think a lot of visual stimulation and just a great atmosphere to hang out with your friends and sort of enjoy an evening of full immersion art. I don't think there's anything else like it that's been done in the area, and we'll see how it goes. If it becomes a thing, if people support it, there's a lot of different directions we can go in with it in the future. Please try to wear a costume. As you may know, Burning Man costume means anything from, 0 to everything. So we'll let you, use your own discretion.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to be wearing a costume. I'm going to be there. David, are you going to be in costume?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What about you, Shante?
Yep, same. Yeah, and also I did want to just say really quickly, David, if you all love to support local artists, this is the perfect event because all of our vendors are local artists. And we have manga-inspired prints. We have a blacksmith artist. We have Francisco selling succulents. We have ceramics being sold, handmade sewing items, fiber art, photography, homemade jewelry. I mean, like, this is just a little bit of everything and all local. So it's really a great event.
Good point. Well, and that sort of reminds me that people have asked, what about Harvest the Arts? We couldn't do it this year because of the concerns we had about our sponsors who have all struggled financially during the pandemic. But at least this way we can support a few local artists that signed up to be part of this event. So because Harvest the Arts, a big part of that is supporting those 30 plus artists that come out and giving them a forum to sell their work. So not quite as big, but at least something we can do to continue to support our local art community.
Yeah, and who knows if this goes well, I could see, maybe an art walk happening in Yuba City or some sort of street art activity. I just think the potential is there. We hope that people will get behind it and come out. Come on, you don't have to be an artist to enjoy this. You don't have to be creative. And it's like some people think, oh, if I come to an art event, are they going to make me be artistic or something? No, we're actually just kind of celebrating radical creativity in our community. There are many avenues and aspects in there, and hopefully people just want to come out and have a great time and enjoy a really great space, which, oh my gosh, the Sutter Theater Center for the Arts has turned into a beautiful artrium, and the spaces to talk and enjoy, and the black box. It's, we're so lucky for all of the community to have worked so hard on this, that I think the community needs to come out and really enjoy it. It's for our people in our area, and here it is.
If you haven't been in, come out and see it, and it's in all its glory. Really the first big thing we've done there, first of many to come. I think this will be a great. Feel like we've had several kickoff events. This is another kickoff event, so we can keep working that all year. I think, right? This is our 40-year anniversary, so we'll keep doing new and exciting things. It's funny you mentioned the word radical, radical creativity, and radical. If you get a minute, I won't read them all to you, but the 10 principles of Burning Man are kind of cool. And a couple of them include radical inclusion. And it's a gifting economy. I know from what my daughter said, you go to Burning Man, you don't buy stuff, you swap, you barter, you trade. It's or you just give, not expecting really anything in return. Along with that, the decommodification of objects in art and giving things away, radical self-reliance out there in the desert. I think that's probably a pretty good trait to have. Radical self-expression. I like that one. That really speaks, I think, to the creative process. Radicals, and boy, it's pretty radical when you see some of those creations, the sculptures, and there's smaller stuff going on too. But these teams that come in with these things that they make. There were a couple parked in an empty lot over near where my daughter lives in Oakland, and when I first started, when she came out to go to grad school, and I go by and I went, oh boy, that looks like Burning Man sculpture from past years. And she said, yep, that's exactly what it is. They also focus on civic responsibility and, leaving no trace, participation. So there is no pressure to participate in any of our event activities, but, you'll be, you might enjoy it if you give it a try. So we're excited.
We have a mask painting. I think we have a mask painting table. for sure. And yeah, that's something to be able to do too.
We'll encourage mask wearing, please. Help us
Yes.
all keep safe, and
Mhm.
and create your own mask if you want on site. So there's a new one to add to your collection of masks.
Masks.
What about the grand finale? That the Burning Man ends
That's right.
with they bring in a huge sculpture. It's different each year. It's I think largely wood, and at the very end of the event, it's usually over Labor. I think it culminates on Labor Day weekend usually, but then they actually torch the Burning Man, the Wicker Man. So I'm not sure all the mythology that goes around along with that, but I'm sure there's a story. We will not be burning any 30-foot tall sculptures in our beautiful Sutter Theater Center for the Arts. However, the man will be present, and he will be illuminated, let's say, and we'll try to create an effect and give a little bit of that
There is
feeling.
definitely, participation is key in this whole thing, if only to just, do a little something to express maybe part of your thoughts about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our good friend Glenn Everett, who was a key part of the construction of the Sutter Theater, actually has created this Burning Man. So he's our
Yay, Glenn!
sculptor in residence on the Burning Man creation. So thank you, Glenn. Pretty exciting. So what do you have to do to get signed up? Hey, if you can, please buy a ticket in advance. It's a whopping $15. We are paying all of these entertainers and artists for being there. Help us support that. We're doing this out of our general fund. We didn't find a grant to do this, so if you can help us out, buy a ticket for $15. YubaSutterArts.org. It's next Saturday, August 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. So come out and enjoy and support. $20 at the door if you don't buy a ticket in advance. So save $5 and save it to buy a beer at the show. So come on out. This is, again, we think a totally unique experience in Yuba Sutter. Burning Man without the sand. So enjoy.
I'm calling it an adult rave. We're going to have music and lights and glow sticks and what the heck.
Perfect.
It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pam. I forgot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, golly. Well, that went quick. Shall we, you want to do the 10 questions again?
No, I don't.
No, you don't? All right. Hey, that's honest.
Yeah, well, you know what? I love the questions, and it's a good thing for people who haven't been on before.
I know. Well, I said only if we needed to, if we ran out of things to talk about, which
We only
clearly
have
is
like a few minutes left, so.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about, some of the other stuff that we're thinking about doing.
Absolutely. What's coming up, David?
Well, you mentioned earlier our two spectacular art gallery shows, and these two shows, it's funny how these things play out. We haven't had an ongoing art gallery show for a year and a half. So the first one, excuse me, is called Birds of a Feather. This is a collective of 5 Native American artists from Northern California, who we met at an art gallery show in Placerville. Arts and Culture El Dorado, our sister agency there, had put together this show with these amazing artists that practice something called, very good, this beautiful work, traditional ecological knowledge. They're using the same materials, same technology, and putting a new artistic twist on things that have been done for literally thousands of years, with elk antler, obsidian, sinew, skins, deer skins, buck skins made from the brains of the animal. Have you heard about brain tanning? All that you need to make beautiful soft leather was actually within the animal. They knew these things. These artists do the same thing. Scrimshaw carving on the bones and antlers, basketry, a little bit of basketry. And then we have another artist she's a fabulous basket maker, but she's also into digital art and illustration. So she's done these paintings on the wall that are all digitally created. Another artist does large format acrylics. We have regalia, as in mannequins fully costumed with one is outfitted in like ready to go to war regalia with vests and shin guards that are made back then to ward off flint arrowheads, not steel. There's an important distinction between pre and post contact with European settlers. A lot changed, as you know, once the Europeans arrived. But some of this regalia with the intricate melding of different materials to create headbands and skirts. I mean, and it's like a zoology quiz to see all the different critters you can use, because we've got, otter and goose and mallard, bear, deer, elk. I mean, just all these different materials harvested. Often, they said, from roadkill. They're very keen on recycling that way. Anyway, Birds of a Feather, and the premise, Jerry Pacanum, one of the artists that created a lot of the work, he said in his kind of artist statement for the show, he says, we are, after all feathers from the same bird, which I thought was pretty sweet. Anyhow, so that's up right now at the gallery at Yuba Sutter Arts and Culture in Marysville. Please come and see it. We're nominally open from 11 to 2, but we'll show it to you anytime. You just give us a call, make an appointment. We'll open up for you. September 11th will be the big artist reception and panel discussion. All 5 artists will be coming back to town to talk about their work, discuss Native American artwork in general, their work specifically. So put that on your calendar. But come see the show before and get your questions and answers or questions ready to be answered. The second show that, again, just kind of fell in our lap, this is a collaboration with the Sacramento State, Cal State Sacramento. A woman named Kelly Linder, who's the curator of collections at Sac State, came to us a year and a half ago and wanted to collaborate on a grant she was writing to the Cal Humanities Group to bring an artist who grew up partially in Marysville, Raj Mahal Kalan, whose family got into agriculture. She later moved to Berlin, but she's built an incredible career in art, much of which centers on, it sort of ties in with the Native American show, because she speaks to the issues of racial prejudice, post-colonial contact, and what that meant for Native peoples. In this case, the Sikh population, both here and in India and around the world. So she has 7. Part of the show is 7 giant portraits. I mean, 30 by 40s of the 7 Sikhs that were murdered in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, back in 2012. And she's done these portraits where on the background on the canvas, she glued pages from colonial books that speak disparagingly about the Native people in India. And then she painted these huge portraits over that, so you can read a little bit of that text. The final result is just, you've got to see it. These portraits look kind of into your soul. Beautiful, beautiful portraits. So that's a big part of the show. There's another collection she's bringing in that I haven't seen yet. So, but watch for that. That'll be at the Theater Gallery at the Sutter Theater Center for the Arts, both in the gallery and also in the lobby, because there's a lot of work to display. So that comes in. Do you remember the date, Shantae?
Ooh, October 3rd, 2nd?
It's basically the month of October and a little bit thereafter. Yeah. Thanks. And so that's going to be an exciting show. So we've got that piece coming into Yuba City, and then the Birds of a Feather in Marysville. So lots to watch out for, and so many more things. Our film festival, we're getting entries for our short film festival. They'll all be screened on October 2nd. So get your work in, and if you're a filmmaker or want to be a filmmaker, whip something up on your iPhone and send it in. So what else? So much.
There's always so much.
There's always so much, actually. People have to check out the website.
Yes.
Sure.
Keep an eye on us at, exactly, YubaSutterArts.org. Continue to follow us on Facebook. Our YouTube channel's bulging at the seams with great content, great conversations just like this. So stay tuned for more. Well, Pam, Shantae, thank you so much.
Oh, gosh, thank you. It's been kind of like the highlight of my week already, but it's going toward the weekend. I can't wait till the Burning Man event. And,
that's right.
I want to thank you for inviting me along. So this is great. You guys do excellent work.
Always a pleasure. Thanks again, Shantae, for the great technical support. To our producer, Abby Cecina. Until next time, that's it for Artist Alchemy. Lots more coming your way at Yuba Sutter Arts and Culture at both the Marysville campus and also the Sutter Theater Center for the Arts. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next month for another edition of Artist Alchemy. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.